let's get into something else that has become very topical, the E-Levy. And we've heard so many things. This morning I was engaging Selon Brantier, who feels, I mean, this whole thing is dead on arrival. It is inimical to, the ordinary Ghanaian. And he feels the entrenched position that some communicators in government have adopted. I've not heard this from the finance minister himself, but I've heard some of your communicators, Dr. Amwa, say that we are going to have an E-Levy and it is going to be 1.75%, whichever way we like it. Roxanne is suggesting that you yourself have been saying that. And on Tuesday, we have to go back to this matter. You've talked about consultation, reaching out to the Ghanaian masses. Do you feel in adopting this entrenched position that we will have an E-Levy, whether you like it or not, Ghana for, and it's going to be 1.75%? Do you feel that feeds well into this entire consultative process? Dr. Amwa, are you with me? Okay, we appear to have lost Dr. Stephen Amwa briefly. We'll reconnect with him. I'm sure he heard that question. I'll just reframe when he comes. But coming to you,
yes.
Roxanne, this has been quite a journey, hasn't it? From the last quarter of last year into now, it's all been E-Levy, 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 E-Levy. I had your compatriot or your counterpart, the Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Honorable Mutala, give us this position of the NDC yesterday, and he made it categorical that you are against any form of an E-Levy. We've also been told, like we read today in the Daily Graphic and other papers, that you're thinking of YouStart, a youth entrepreneurship program. You're thinking of road construction. You're thinking of other infrastructure. You're thinking of shoring up the economy. We need the E-Levy. That is what Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has been saying. It's been suggested that you in the minority, you are just being mischievous, hypocritical, and you just want to break down government business. The question is why? Why are you doing that? Roxanne.
Thank you very much. It's not correct that the aim of the minority is to break down government business. It's not correct that the aim of the minority in this matter.
So Dr. Amwa, I am taking a submission from Roxanne. I'll be with you in some 2 minutes so that you can also react to what he says. Right.
No problem.
It's incorrect that the aim of the minority is to obstruct government business. We've been asking government that within the past 5 years, total government revenue, in terms of tax, total tax revenue from 2017 to 2021 is in the region of 220 billion.
Right.
In all, 220 billion. That's total tax revenue. And that's equivalent to about $45 billion. If we consider borrowings of government within the same period, it comes to about 220 billion or more. That will translate into about $45 billion.
Right.
So, plus or minus, government within the past 5 years has had in excess of $90 billion to work with, equivalent of about 60 billion pounds in this economy. We are asking government to account for that. Whilst we do that, government says its revenue is shrinking, revenue sources are shrinking. And so they want to expand revenue collection or they want to foray into other areas where they can generate more revenue.
You as a minority, you've been proposing some areas to them that they can use apart from the E-Levy.
Yes. For instance, and my ranking made the point, it was very, very instructive point, that if you take the over 40 million registered SIM holders in this country, 441,000 are merchant SIMs. Merchant.
Right.
And that supposes that they are doing business for profit.
Right.
So even for starters, identify the merchant SIM holders and tax their profit. for operating mainly on e-transaction or for engaging in e-process for profit. Because if we put all of us together, all the 40 million.
But you would
plus,
admit that 441,000 compared to about 40 million.
Hold on.
441,000.
No,
that's just
no,
about what
because when they
million.
do that, there's a distortion. The general population is about 31 million. And your record is showing that over 40-something million are SIM holders. So it means that there are persons
Multiple
who hold.
holders.
Exactly.
Right.
So when you rely on such data to do computerization, you are you have distorted conclusions or outcomes. So Ato is saying that for starters, you target the merchant SIM holders because they are profiting, they are doing their business for profit. Target the profit they are getting from their telcos for starters and see how it goes. But when you lump all of us together, and for instance, when you say that if I can transfer 100 cedis or more in a day, it means I'm in a position of wealth. That is also misleading because you government yourself, the executive, you are paying poor people every quarter about 300 Ghana. Because you think that they are poor, so you are gifting the state money to them. So if you think that the basic minimum amount that somebody needs to survive is 100 cedis per month,
then how come you're turning around to tax on people?
You see, but let's get into the tax, the levy.
Can you do that in a minute?
Yes.
So I get to Dr.
Yes.
Anwar.
What is the position of the minority? We are saying that the tax will distort the economy. Why? Because the tax is neither an indirect tax or a direct tax. And the imposition also infringes the principles of taxation.
Right.
Because you are assuming or you have encouraged by a deliberate policy that we should engage in e-process. So as a business person, I want to deal with Agbeku. Akaku, sorry. My apologies. You are a dealer in electronic gadgets. So I want to buy a TV for my community. How much? 3,000 Ghana. I send you the money from Piki. So you put the TV on a vehicle and send it to me. I don't have to travel to Accra. Government says that if I do that, government is actually not taxing the fees that will be charged me by the telcos, but on the volume. So the higher the volume, the more money government makes. You think that as a business person, next time I'll transfer such amount of money.
So it's inimical to business.
Yes, it is.
Hold it right there.
It is.
Dr. Anwar, you've been patient enough. You've listened to everything that your colleague Roxanne has been saying. My first bit to you, why are you bent on an e-levy at 1.75%? Why?
Okay, thank you very much. My brother, I want the whole world listening to us today and my brother Roxanne to also honorable to understand the fact that in the first place, what do we use proceeds from tax for?
What do we use what for?
Proceeds from tax. What do we use it for? We use it for to execute government policies and programs, to derive utility for the same people that we are taxing.
Is that what it means?
It is very important. And we do that to create some sort of uniformity and some level playing field in society among different segments along our social stratification. That is why we try to create a condition or a situation, an environment for a poor child to access education. We need to understand that. And that's the prudent management of any socioeconomic framework of society. We should understand that. Two, before I come to your point, we should understand the fact that taxes all over the world impact disposable income negatively all over the world. So nobody is happy with doing that. Between 2014 and 2016, go and check. And that my brother's regime, NDC's regime, about 26 tax components were either increased or imposed on Ghanaians. This same NPP government under His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa, in fact, 2017, either reduced or entirely extracted 16 tax components. Remember the financial services tax, the KIO tax, the condom tax, medicines imported but not produced in Ghana, and real estate. You remember all of them. So managing tax is a calibration model. But looking at the position and the circumstances a country is going through or confronted with a challenge, then you decide as a good government to increase taxes to make sure that you manage and consolidate your fiscal space. We are a country that, among all other countries on the globe, about 22 months of impaired productivity in this country as a result of COVID. When you say this, propaganda-wise, they say everything is COVID. Because they come from a background of communist inferior tactics. They think they want to pull people along and want people to feel they like them. However, their Social Democratic Party, tell me any pro-poor policy to show you love Ghanaians and save the poor from being at the bottom of our social ladder that they implemented. So it is not about propaganda. We have been going through a lot as a country.
Right. So Doc, can we narrow it down? Can we narrow it down and just address?
Can he address the matter? I cannot
let me do this.
Address the matter you are talking about.
Hold on, Roxanne.
Deal with the issue.
Roxanne, let me moderate this.
Let's speak about the merits of this system of taxation.
Roxanne, thank you. So Doc, I want you to hit the nail on the head.
But that's what I'm doing.
1.75%. And do we need to do this? We are talking about less than 7 billion Ghana cedis. Are you telling me that out of the 100.5 billion Ghana cedis that we've budgeted, for the nation's working in terms of the economy, if we let go of these 7 billion, the economy will go bust?
We need the money.
I have spoken for 2 minutes. He spent 2 minutes talking about propaganda.
So wrap on that and tell us about 1.75.
Use your time well to address the issue and let me rebut.
Please, can you talk to Roxanne to stop this thing?
Please.
If you don't want me to, I'll just cut the call, then he goes ahead.
Roxanne will no longer interrupt. Go ahead.
Their intimidation and the violent nature, they should stop those things.
You are on TV saying that you want the E-Levy.
I beg your pardon. He is on phone. You are in the studio. Allow him to make his point. Please go ahead, Doc.
What I'm saying is that in the first place, the country has gone through impaired productivity, making government to spend without getting even the needed revenue. Our revenue shortfall was over 11 billion. Government has been paying even workers who do not go to work.
And who created that? Who created that?
Let me answer my question, please.
Right.
If you won't let me, you are telling the reason. I'm building facts. You have to understand. You say you will not. So how do I speak?
No, you were talking about 11 billion, and you were talking about the shortfall, and I was asking what created that or who created it. I was just chipping in.
But let me finish, because you are asking me a question. If I don't finish why we need the money, and you keep on asking different questions,
go ahead.
I can't answer you.
Go ahead.
At least when I finish, then you ask me. So I've told you the shortfall was a result. But we live in this country. Markets were closed down. Cars were not moving. Restaurants were closed down. And you know that even up to now, some government workers, they are running shifts because of COVID, and government is paying them.
Right.
Definitely, private sector had to start about 40,000 people. We lost payee in these areas. Companies were not performing because of COVID. We lost money in the area of corporate tax. These are factuals. Nobody can argue unless you want to do politics. And because of that, government had to rely on debt financing. And our economy was not growing, which was not Kufuor's fault. So that to GDP definitely will go up uncontrollably. And then the same stakeholders were advising us to be careful the way we are borrowing. Our fiscal space is going bad. Definitely to destroy the country. Our effective tax rate as a country has been negative, even without COVID.
Right.
In sub-Saharan Africa, we are one of the countries that we don't collect taxes at all. We are our revenue generation as a percent of GDP against the benchmark, even in the developing economy, between 18% and 20%. In the developed, about 40 or 35%.
Right.
We are around 11%. So these things call for tax calibration upwards in our country today. If without it, this country will suffer. Meanwhile, state institutions are still going about asking for new concessions. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why? And those who are saying we should reduce the taxes, I have nothing against it. But they should back it to detailed work. They should say that if we do it 1%, we are getting $1 billion. Looking at our obligations, our interest payments, our hospital needs, our social needs, our educational needs, $1 billion will take about 70% of the royalties will take. Then we can be convinced.
So just can I come in now? Can I come in now, Doc? Hold on, Roxanne.
Yes, sir.
Good. So I know that the minority has also put forward certain suggestions, proposals, if you like, when it comes to what alternatives you have of shoring up the economy, but not going the electronic way. But I'm going back to the question, do we need to have it at one? Do we need to peg the E-Levy at 1.75%. I mean, others have even said that between 0.5% and 1% is okay. Some groups have said that. Do we need it to be at 1.75%?
Boss, do you know why? The first thing I'm saying that you should answer me, that has there been any detailed work from anyone suggesting 1%? For us to understand the fact that 1% will generate X amount of money, and that will be enough consolidating our fiscal space to put this economy in a position that we can solve all our immediate needs, or most of them, if not all. Can we do that? Two, we are in government. This is the alternative or option that we think it will help this country. Leave us to do it. The NDC said when we pass it, we will lose elections. So now what they are doing, you know what MPP to stay in power? No. They know that if we're able to pass this and manage the money prudently, which is the first, I'm expecting Ghanaians to push us to do the right thing with the money and reduce wastage probably in the system. This country will come back quickly out of all the consequences that we are even being confronted with because of the COVID.
So just to get it clear, just to get it clear, Doc.
Be better off, and the NDC is afraid of that.
Right. So just to get it clear, Sebe, and NDC 4 year. In other words, this whole thing is just diabolical actions from the opposition to ensure that government business doesn't move on. That's it in a nutshell.
That's what they are doing, and they know that.
Okay.
Let me.
All right.
First of all,
right. Doc. So just hold it there. You react to that in a minute. You react to that in 1 minute.
No, you are not being fair to me.
Because I'm going to give you a question to respond to, and that is why.
He said a lot of
hold
things.
on.
I need to.
Roxanne, I need to moderate this. I'll give you a minute to respond to what he said, and then I want you to tell me about this bit that the Daily Guide newspaper covers this morning when it comes to the E-Levy. Apparently, in your 2020 manifesto, page 99.8.7, you had something snuck in there under the fintech proposals, which was going to give us an E-Levy-like situation anyway.
We're saying that.
So why is it that at this point in time you're being hypocritical? So quick response to what Doc is saying, and we'll come to this one. That's how we'll wrap the conversation.
First, it is never true that in West Africa, we are the country that doesn't collect tax at all. That's what he said.
I think he was mentioning percentages. He wasn't saying that we don't collect tax.
Why? If he meant so, he would have said so correctly. So we do collect tax. We do collect tax. So he should know that. Two.
In fact, the GRA has just been telling us that last year was their best year.
Exactly. He went on and said that the economy was in tatters, they were paying workers. GRA by its own performance. By its own performance, the figures are here. They exceeded their targets in 2021. Didn't we have COVID? He said corporate tax had dwindled. Where did GRA get the corporate tax from? So sometimes they lie like this just to justify the kind of things they want to do. It's never correct. The figures from GRA shows that they have improved on their tax collection actually during COVID. So the issue is not really about the inability to collect, but it is about the efficiency of the collection system.
Okay. All right. So you've responded.
No, I'm not done. Two. Then he says that disposable income.
We don't have all the time.
No, he says disposable income.
Right.
Who says that the money in my electronic wallet is my disposable income? You see the level of thinking they have. The money in my electronic wallet, which is my capital, which instance I just cited, they are describing it as a disposable income. How is that possible? They simply have a very confused understanding. If if they want to tax the e-economy, the digital economy, they should do so properly. And in respect of some other issues that he spoke about.
Can you do that?
When John Mahama introduced taxes, he was also looking for revenue.
Right.
But they describe it as a nuisance tax. Was John Mahama going to put the money in his pocket? When he says that they want money, they want revenue to do things, John Mahama, when he brought the taxes that they labeled as nuisance tax, he wasn't looking for revenue. He was looking for profit. So today when you see, look, Roto that gives us about 90 million. They have waived it off. They say it's peanuts.
About 200,000 a day.
This government says Roto. in the millions a year. He says it's peanut, they don't want it. So when they speak to issues about revenue shortfalls, you want to
point well made, but I don't want you to. We're ending the conversation on this. The E-Levy policy, supposedly on page 99 on point 8.7 under the financial inclusion and electronic payments in your 2020 manifesto. You were talking about it. You were talking about promising to migrate and enforce all person-to-government payments into the electronic payments ecosystem and start with migrating all major revenue-generating ventures of government into e-payment platforms. Basically, planning to also, well, get us into a phase of taxing electronic
payments. This is no argument. The NDC is on record to have taxed e-transaction.
Oh,
yes.
I see.
Well, what did we do? We slap VAT on the fees charged by the banks when they do electronic transaction.
Right.
They labeled it as a nuisance tax, and in 2017 they kicked it off. E-transactions. So when they go and dig this up, they've lost the debate, they've lost the argument, so they are clutching on straws. We have done that. So we said that we're going to expand. How are we going to expand? If you look at some of the transactions, we're going to disaggregate them. Who are the people making profit from e-transactions? You look at it, you tax it appropriately.
Okay.
But you don't tell me that when my old auntie in the village, when I transfer 100 cities to her to manage the weekend, you want to slap 1.75
so
the issue really about the e-tax is about the rate.
Okay.
Actually, I have the report of the committee when the bill was considered and brought to the floor. To the extent that the minority is actually proposing a 0.00 rate.
0.00.
Yes.
In other words, you don't want any e-levy.
No, the e-levy can be there. It can be zero rated.
Right.
In fact, I think in Malawi, when they introduced it, it was a 0.2. But because of agitation, they've taken the rate off. So the tax system is there. But it's not rated. It's a zero rated tax.
Right.
So we can do that.
Okay. So for you, as far as
and I can read
and this is just yes or no.
And I can read that in the report.
You're going to. It's fine. I don't think we need to do that. Well, but as it stands now, you're going to on Tuesday. You're going to reject. All 137 of your members are going to reject the.
It even tells you they are flip.
No, just give me a yes or no. You're going to reject it.
Yes, we'll reject it.
All right.
They said the speaker was the one frustrating them. Today, the speaker is ready. They are not ready.
Dr. Amwa, if you're still with us, Dr. Amwa, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
In some 15 seconds, can you give your summary comments as we wrap the conversation? I just want to be fair to you.
What I'm saying is that the NDC brothers, they talk as if they've not been in power before. They rule this country more than any other fraternity. And trust me, it's even what you use the money for.
Right.
Check all performance parameters in this country. Even what we inherited or we took over from them, the parameters, in 2017, January 7th, from the economy to social interventions or redistribution and even infrastructure. Go and compare. About 90%, we are better than them, even with the situation that we find ourselves in.
Okay,
so, all right. Just talk. What we are saying is that...
Thank you, Doc.
I'm ending with this.
Thank you.
What we are saying that the E-Levy, if it's passed, is going to really impact this country positively.
Okay. Dr. Amwa, thank you so much. Member of Parliament for Ishiaso, joining the conversation. Very passionate about these matters, but he says we have to stick to the E-Levy. Roxanne, thank you so much for joining the conversation.
It's my pleasure.
And today you butchered my surname a lot.
I apologize. I confused you.
Apology accepted.
I confused you with Agboku.
We're still on the big stories. There's a lot more coming your way right after this break. Should time suffice, we'll be delving into the NLC UTAX situation, where the NLC is actually suing UTAX. Stay for that. We'll be right back.